Okay. Did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, good. We're recording. I can see it. Excellent. Um, so
Woohoo!
welcome back, as if we just had a commercial. uh, so you and as I'm listening to you, I'm realizing that we are both somewhat cut from the same cloth when it comes to how we look at things and our attitude and you know kind of the means of our existence and how we have decided to connect with human beings with our gifts and our creative byproducts and just the philosophy that we have and in having this conversation with you, there's a discovery that we have to sign up for all of it. We have to sign up for when you put yourself out there. I know as a comedian, I go on stage under these bright lights and I'm sharing my most insecure things, the things I'm most vulnerable, the things that have hurt me the most, the things that have set me back. And yet I'm willing to go on stage and completely and totally expose everything about me so that not only I could heal from it, but other people can heal from it. And that's one of the most amazing things about being an artist and having that healing creative process. But on the flip side of that coin, there are some pretty evil, ugly people out there that will take that information and definitely use it against you, definitely try to hurt you more and try to, uh, set a standard of judgment to try to set you off, put you off keel, take you off your game, derail you. And we have to find some inner strength to push forward through all of that. What's your take on dealing with both those angels and those demons that come along with what we sign up with in making ourselves vulnerable through our art?
So for me, what I've noticed throughout my journey on this through the music world and just in life is that there's good and evil everywhere, right? And like I said before, there is a spiritual warfare right now going on. And evil can be disguised as beautiful people, but also as ugly people as well. Just like angels can be disguised as beautiful people and people that you might not usually talk to as well, right? That might not be as beautiful. And I think that the hard thing with me, the way I go through really discovering who I am and how I stay true to who I am, is I have faith in God. I know that He already has a plan designed for me. And if I just allow Him to lead me, He'll carry me where I need to be and place me with whom I need to be with. But it's having that complete faith and knowing that He's placed that hedge of protection around me and that crimson shield, that He's not going to let anything harm me because I am His daughter and I'm His soldier. And people always talk to me, they're like, well, you're really religious. And I'm not religious. I'm honored um, by what God has given me and the gifts He's given me, but I wouldn't consider myself religious. I grew up as a very strong Catholic, and without Catholicism, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I still go to Catholic church, but I also go to other churches as well. But I have a theory behind it. So when I say I'm not religious and that I'm spiritual, it's I look at it like a goldfish. Okay, you have a goldfish in a goldfish bowl, right? That's somebody who is religious. They can't see out. They're told you can't go beyond this. You can only know this much. This is all you need to know. But when you're spiritual, you're that goldfish that can turns into a bird and can fly, and you get to understand everybody's everybody's outlook on how they look at life, energy, water, air, and how everything kind of goes together, frequencies, um, everything. It's just like other religions, other cultures, and really see how everyone is. And you'd be surprised that most people have the same outlook, and that there's bad and good, don't get me wrong, but most people want to be a good person, they just don't know how to be. And so when I say the whole religion thing, so I do follow Jesus Christ, and I don't judge anybody. When I say that, I really, like, I'll judge, like, if I want a hamburger or a hot dog, okay, yes, that's common sense, right? But my best friend's an atheist, and I would never, like, I don't pressure anybody to think the way I think or believe what I think, but you're not going to change who I am either. um so for me, when Jesus walked the earth, or when Jesus was here, he said, follow my spirit. He didn't say follow my religion. That was a man-made thing. And when he
Atheism
said,
is
where
a
my feet
religion
lies, where
too.
my church is.
To be an atheist, that's a
Huh?
religion. Atheism is a religion
Yeah.
as well.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly. But
it's
again, I'm not.
yeah, it's like it's you know, it's a belief in the unknown, but you have faith to know that it's there. It's the same thing with atheist. It's a belief that it's not there, and you have faith that it's not there, but you don't know for sure. You don't know for sure.
I th-
That's
exactly.
what
And
faith
so
is.
the
That's
thing is that,
faith is having, believing in something that you cannot prove exists. We try to, but
well,
in
I
in
look at it, I look at it like this. You can't see oxygen, but you need it to breathe, right?
Mhm.
So you can't see God, but you need him. You need him to live. You know what I mean? Like, and so for me, like I said, I don't judge anybody for whatever religion or what they believe in, but for me, like I said, when Jesus walked the earth, he said, "Follow my spirit, not my religion." And he said, "Where my feet lies, where my church is." So just be the best version of who I would like you to be, that you can be. I'm not perfect. I am flawed. You know, I sin. I'm human, but I also don't. I do my best to be the best person I can be. And again, it's hard because when people see me or hear my story or understand, like, wow, you moved out to California by yourself into a town that you never even heard of, all these things, because I did it on a spiritual journey, because that's what I heard God ask me to do. And people are like, oh, you heard him? I'm like, yeah, I have a relationship with him.
how did
And it's a
you
relationship I'm
how
so honored to have.
how did you land in Temecula? How did you land there? Did you just get your car and drive, and
Okay.
you ran out of gas, and you're like, you know
No.
what? I'm pulling up roots here.
Yeah, it's a funny, it's a unique story. I'll try to give you the shorter version of it. Once I got divorced, I really was trying to get back to my old self, the person who I used to be. And I've always been curious about other religions, spiritualities. Did you get paused? Somebody was trying to,
No, you
did it stop recording?
no,
Okay,
no, you
I'll
good.
apologize. Somebody's trying to call. Um, but my parents are really good about letting me just be a free spirit. And they always, I was a little quirky. And I asked them, as long as I do all my sacraments, my parents would allow me to go to whatever church I wanted to go to, as long as I went to Catholic church too. So they thought I was just like, wanting to go, but I actually really wanted to understand it. Like, why is it this way? Why do people think this way? And to me, even that, you know, to this day now, as I go to different churches. I'll go to sometimes two churches on a weekend just for fun. People think it's strange, but for me, it's fun because one passage can be
I hear like a clicking on your desk or something.
given by
Is there a clicking going on
my
your desk?
desk.
I hear something.
I don't still.
No, it was when you were talking, but okay. I thought maybe
Oh,
there was something on your desk.
so no, it might have been my bracelets.
Yeah.
So for me, like, when I go to different churches, like I said, one passage, one scripture can be told by a priest, a minister, a deacon, or whatever, but everybody's perspective is different. And so whoever's following that person, whoever, is a minion or their flock, right? It's going to believe what that person believes, and that's how they're going to follow it. So it's for me to understand people and to be the best musician and write the most amazing music to be able to help others is to understand how people think the way they think and be respectful. So each person is following a different person. And I'm like, oh, that's why you think that way. That's why you act that way. It's because you're believing this way, this story, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But another person said the same thing, and you just can get so much out of it, and it's different perspectives. And so for me, I like to understand why people think the way they think. And I don't know. I love it. So, anyways, back to my spiritual journey, I kind of went left, but I was wanting to get back to, you know, my calling, and I knew like God was talking to me a lot. And I got out of a bad marriage, and I hope the best for him. I have, but it was not healthy, and it wasn't healthy. And so when I got out of it, I got really just close to God. I've always been close to God, even throughout my marriage. I was so super close to God, and um, I knew that I had to do His will. We have a choice to do our own will or do His will to be done, right? And for me, I knew that I had to get back into music. And I knew I had to use my gift. And it was really weird how I knew that because I started talking to God, and all of a sudden, the manager that found me 10 years ago or 15 ago, again, out of the blue, contacted me and was like, hey, I was thinking about you and I want to know if you want to do this song. And I'm like, well, I'm really wanting to go a different direction. I was like, how did you know I was wanting to get back into music? And it just kind of aligned like that. And so then choosing where I wanted to go, I recorded a lot in Denver, Colorado. And when I was in LA and all that, I always thought of it like I never wanted to live in California. Everybody's always talking bad about California. It's like, oh, this and that. And then I realized the only reason why I didn't like California is because my ex really didn't like California. And you kind of, when you're with somebody, when somebody else doesn't like it, you tend to like, oh, if he doesn't like it, I don't like it because you're conformed. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And I was just, no, Michelle, you're moving to California. Like everything was just like aligning. You're going to California. And I had a great job in New Mexico. I was doing great, but I knew that I wasn't happy and I wasn't doing my will, the God's will. So I came out to California, came out to LA where my friends were and looked for jobs and stuff. And I was not really spiritually feeling what I like. And did the same thing in San Diego. Had friends out there, not feeling what I like. And then finally, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I got my cell phone and I was looking online and I was at work and my friends were there with me when I would do this. They thought I was crazy. I would go like this and I would scroll on my phone and I go, and it kept stopping in this town, Marietta. And I'm like, I don't even, and I really was trying to just lean on God. And I was like, ah, I don't know what that is. And it kept telling me, I was like, whatever. And then my friend called and she's like, hey, have you ever thought about working for this company? And I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but we'll see. And then the next day again, I did it again at work on the computer with the mouse and it landed on the same thing. And I was like, I don't want to. And had already been back and forth to California. And so then I did it one more time and it did it again. So I said, okay, God, I hear you. So I called the company. I'm like, hey, are you looking for a respiratory therapist? And like, how did you know we didn't posted anything? And I was like, God's will. And then I had an interview. Um, and I heard God say, this is where you're taking it. You're taking this position. And I'm like, put your 30 days in. And so I'm like, I put my 30 days in and I didn't know if I had the position or not. And I had another interview with them and they offered me a position. It was less than what I, was making. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to survive California? And God is like, I got you. Don't worry. I got you. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. I'm really going to do this. And I didn't look up any information on Marietta, Temecula, or anything. I was leaning on God. Like literally, I had no clue where this town was. It could have been Northern California. It could have been no idea. And so I flew out here, but rented a car, got my GPS, came, found found an apartment during COVID when they weren't renting apartments out because people kept um, they weren't leaving their apartments. Remember that whole mess that was going on then? So nobody was renting out apartments. And the first apartment I go to, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this one couple didn't qualify. We actually have a one bedroom available." I was like, "Really? Well, okay." So I took the apartment, flew back home. Still don't know where this is. I haven't looked into anything about this area whatsoever. Um, I had put my 2 weeks notice in and flew out. I packed my stuff up in my van, I mean, the moving truck, which I've had my whole living room for 6 months, act like it was going into a moving truck. I'm kind of OCD because I knew I was moving. I just didn't know where and I didn't know when. And I knew when God said, "You're moving, you're moving." So I was prepared. And my friends were like, "You are so crazy." And I'm like, okay. So I was on my way out here and I was leaving and I decided I'm moving by myself. I didn't want any help. And then all of a sudden, the day I was leaving, I had my lunch and saying goodbye to my friends and family. And my best friend goes, "Your dad just told me you're going by yourself." I'm like, "Yes, I am." And she's like, "No, I'll go with you." I was like, "No, thank you. That's okay though. I want to do this on my own." And she's like, "I'm going with you." I'm like, "No, no, no." And like all of a sudden she shows up and she's like, "I'm going with you." This is the funny part. So I love Jesus. And she's my friend that's an atheist. So we're on this 13-hour drive together. And she's like, "I don't want to be hearing about that." I said, "Well, then you're in the wrong vehicle because you know I love God. And that's what I want to talk about because this is my journey." So like she's like, "Oh my gosh." So it's funny how God works. So we're driving and I'm all happy. And she's just like, "Michelle, I just can't with you." And I'm like, "You chose to come with me." As we're driving, the worst windstorms ever. There was six semi trucks that were tipped over on the side from the wind, and our my moving truck kept like moving, and I'd have to pull over because my little car was we're pulling from behind. Would actually get picked up, and I have to back it up and put it back on the trailer. And we get here, and all of a sudden, there's all these fires, and I was like, "Man." And she's like, "See, Michelle, this is another sign. This is another sign you shouldn't be moving. You need to stay in New Mexico." I said, "No." I said, "It's not." I go, "You kidding me?" God's like, "Hey, California, move out of the way." Literally throwing semi trucks out of the way so I can make my way through. I said, and then he's cleansing the earth. So as I arrive, it's all purified. And she's like, "Only you would come up with like a positive twist to all of this." I'm like, "It is, but that's how I am." And so I got out here and I loved it. And then when I arrived here, I started doing research. And at that time, I read something that it was considered to be the safest town in California at that time for families. So I was like, "Wow, that's pretty awesome." Well, then I realized that an hour and a half is Palm Springs, an hour and a half is my producers in LA, an hour and a half is Newport Beach, an hour and a half is San Diego. God literally placed me in the center in the safe town because he knew I was by myself. And I'm an hour and a half away from all the producers and areas that I'm going to. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah, pretty cool.
So I work with producers in all these areas, and he placed me in the center in a safe place, in a safe town where nobody knows about this area. And he knew that I'm going to be traveling to all these areas, and that way I'm in the center of it.
Right.
That's how I arrived here at Maria.
That's cool.
That's
Very cool.
the crazy story that people are like, you didn't know anything. I no friends, nobody out here. Like so, I just am like, yeah, this crazy lady in her 40s decided to show up here and continue her music career, and they're like, and that's it's awesome because again, that's a short version of it, but if you knew the opportunities and the way that the devil was tempting me to stay. And the other opportunities like in Hawaii and oh gosh, everywhere, like these great opportunities, making a crazy amount of money, but if that's the devil. That's earthly items, you know. And I was like, no, God's like, nope. He humbled me and he said, you're going to make less than what you're used to, and you're going to be fine. And and you're going to live in California, which is the most expensive state ever. But
Yeah,
you got
no,
this. You'll
no
be fine
doubt,
if you believe in
no
me and have
doubt.
faith. And I did it, and I'm so grateful because I tell people, you believe and you have faith, anything's possible. And quite frankly, like the closer you are to God, the harder the devil's going to attack, right? I'm well aware of that. And a lot of times people look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, well, you can't be that nice. You can't be that sweet, that kind. There's something wrong with you. And I'm like, oh, there's not. This is just who I am. And it's sad that people judge people like that because they're so used to people being so fake, especially out in this world, because everybody's always out. They can't just be there for somebody. They're always wanting something from somebody, and they assume you want something from them. And it's like, I'm not, no, I'm just wanting to be a good person
So
and
in
do God's will and spread.
so in closing, what advice would you give somebody who's trying to get into the music movement? You know, somebody who is looking to expand themselves through a musical outlet in this wild and crazy world. What would be your advice to them?
Truly pray on everything you're doing. And before even or even before this podcast, I said a prayer, you know, before you make a decision in life, really sit down and think and pray about it and let God lead you. And He will open the right doors for you and place you where you need to be. And if this is really something you want to do, believe in yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. People, I'm not in competition with anybody but myself. I'm here to outdo me, not anybody else. So when somebody says, well, would you consider yourself like an Adele style or like, you know, a Britney style, whatever? I'm like, no, I consider myself a Michelle because they're amazing. And people are going to compare you because that's just common. Like when you get out on the stage, they're comparing you to other artists. Just be true to yourself and know that you're an amazing person and that God used you as a have discernment. And when you do go into meetings, don't ever, and I don't drink, I don't do drugs. People think I'm just naturally hyper and happy. Um, but I would advise them, like really try to stay away from alcohol and drugs. I'm not saying, I mean, teach their own. I'm not going to judge anyone. It really doesn't bother me if people do it. But for yourself, you make better decisions when you're sober. And the evil will try to convince you because, especially in this, there's so much negativity out there, and there's us good guys trying to like to clean it out, right? So bring your own water. Don't take anything from anyone. And if it feels funny, it's probably funny. If it doesn't feel comfortable, it's probably not comfortable. If it feels too good to be true, you know what? It might be actually awesome. So don't just assume it's too good to be true because it might be that might be your door that just opened. And if somebody's like, oh, no, no, that's too good to be true. No, that might be your opening. But also use discernment and really get about it and pray about it. And if it feels uncomfortable or funny, then that's not where you're supposed to be. But if it feels great, then you know it is. So just believe yourself and have faith and don't worry about what anybody else thinks. I only worry about what I think. You know, it's nobody's business. It's none of my business what other people think about me. All that matters is what I think about myself. God thinks about me, and that's how you really have to live your life. Be the best version of yourself, and you will thrive. And I hope to see all of you performing and out there and just being being awesome. And I just thank you so much for allowing me to be platform. And I'm excited to see you and be there for your birthday, your
Yeah,
party,
yeah, yeah.
and just lift you up and surround yourself with like people. Another thing, only surround yourself with like-minded people, people who you can uplift and help, and they will uplift and help you in return. Be very cautious. If there's a downy Deborah, probably need to get them out of your life because that's the devil trying to lead you away from what you're doing is right. Surround
Yeah.
yourself with successful people, and you're going to be
That's
so.
awesome.
That would be my advice.
Good tip. Good tip for
So,
those youngsters, those youths getting off the Greyhound bus. So where can we find you on the social medias? How do we find you to support you?
so follow me on Michelle Perez Music Official. Um, on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. You can also follow me, Michelle Music Official, and Michelle Perez Music Official on YouTube as well. And I'll admit I've got to get better with my Instagram, but that's part of there's always these little quirks that we all have to figure out, right? So for me, my social media is my new thing that I'm gonna really start getting into it and like being more present for my fans. And they've actually reached out to me and have asked me to be more present. So I'm gonna do that. I'm be this intentionally get there and do that. So that's where you can reach me right now as my platforms. And I do whenever I have a gig, I'm always making sure placing anything I'm performing at, if I have shows at, and yeah, follow me and support me. Like Michelle, it's Michelle with one L. So Michelle one L Perez, music official, Instagram, everywhere. And I'm so excited to see all of you guys reach out to me. If there's a song that you want me to sing to you, I have no problem with that as well. Shout it out to you. So
Awesome.
that's that. That's
Well,
reach me.
yeah, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And I want to get a photo of you real quick. So let me get my camera here. I'll let you know when to do a big giant smile. And
Okay.
I can put that on my thumbnail. That way we can promote the show out to the people. Okay, so three, two, one. Look at the camera. Give me a nice big smile. Three, two, one. All right. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for carving out. Thank you for
Yeah,
being patient and pushing through
I
all
hope.
the technical demonic glitches that's been happening today,
Yeah.
but we were able to push through
You
and
know
get.
what? This is an honor and I thank you. I thank you for having me and I really am excited to get to know you more and collaborate. You know, who knows, maybe I can create a song for your
Sure.
show.
Yeah, that
You
would
know what
be
I mean?
awesome. And
Like
then
you have no idea. We don't know. So that would be great.
and when I get down to Fallbrook, I'll look you up and you can
Yeah.
meet me down there, or I can catch up with
Yeah.
you on the way down, and we can
Yeah, that'd be great.
do some collaborating.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. And you know what? If you ever want, where do you live?
I live in Bel Air.
Where you
I'm in Los Angeles.
So I'm in LA. Whenever let me know too if you want to collaborate. My schedule just switched, and I'm supposed to have weekends off, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, because I need to focus, and I have the evenings, of course, off, but so I can focus more on music. So if you want to collaborate, let me know, and we can just make it happen. Because I'm
Perfect.
one of those people like if you're on my schedule, I make it happen. You know, just like we
Awesome.
did today. I am so honored that you allowed me to come on and I hope I did a good job.
Yeah, you did a
I
great
was
job.
like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can out, but
Yeah.
I was like, well, I talk a lot, but I hope
Well,
it was okay.
I
Um,
mean, podcasts are talk shows. You're supposed to talk, so
exactly,
I want to have you
exactly.
on so you can talk. That's the whole idea of having these. It's like, turn on the mic, turn on the like, and go. So, um,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
different people have
Well,
different styles.
you're so, I wish I said this when you were rolling, but you have a very great way of talking and communicating with people, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you and allowing me to be on this because a lot of people they don't know how to communicate well. They don't know how to really engage with whom they're talking with, and you do a really great job of listening. And this is a great podcast, and I was honored. And I really you are, and I don't compliment unless I mean it. I'm one of those
So
people.
thank
You
you
can't
very
say
much.
anything nice, don't say anything at all. So
I appreciate
you
that.
did a great. You have a great podcast, and I'm excited to see you live and make
Yeah,
me laugh. But yeah, if you want to
yeah,
collaborate, let's do that. Let's get together. We can even get Garen in there to play with
yeah,
us. Why
yeah,
not, right? You can
sure.
record it and we can just post that on there too.
Absolutely.
Make things
Absolutely.
happen. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Thank you so much. And you have my phone number. And stay in contact.
I will.
And
Thank you so much.
let's plan some. Well, I'll see you on your birthday.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
God
Thanks
bless.
a lot. Appreciate you.
And let me know let me know what you think of my songs too.
I
I don't
will.
know if you've heard them or not, but definitely
Yeah,
let me know what you think.
I will. I will. All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right, I'll talk to you soon.